aka Diamantes. His name is Bricky, and oh my god, Warhammer 40k lore. But before we get into that, if you enjoyed today's episode, head over to the Patreon, patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous, where you can get access to the Discord, bloopers if they happen. The $15 tier gets you access to all the posters you can shake a stick at, even the new Sister of Wrath one. So if you enjoyed today's episode, patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous. Bricky, take it away.
Hey, I got an ad for you all. Shave your balls. Go.
Hello, wonderful citizen of the Imperium. I have cut my balls. Have you cut your balls? Do you want to cut your balls less? I think you might. You might want today's sponsor, Manscaped, to cut your balls less. And you can do so with the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0, consisting of their incredible Lawnmower 4.0 for a lack of ball cuttage. The Performance Package 4.0 has everything you are going to need to keep yourself clean and smooth for the summer. In fact, you've seen me unbox the Performance Package 4.0 many times before. This is simply one of the items. I don't have all the items because I've been using them. Honest to God, I do actually use the Manscaped stuff. I think it's pretty good. But you see, the creme de la creme is truly the Lawnmower 4.0. It's excellent, got good battery life, feels fine, also no snags, no nicks, no cuts, no nothing. You also have stuff like the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, boxers, a travel bag, and you can even take it to the next level with the Shears 2.0 kit as well. Stainless steel nail cutters, tweezers, grooming scissors, all kinds of things to keep every aspect of you nice and groomed to, get that beach summer you're going for. If you live by a beach. If not, then the Midwestern summer. And you can get all this using coupon code ADRIC down in the description for 20% off and free shipping. Again, that's down there in the description. Link, click, code ADRIC, 20% off, free shipping. And thank you so much for sponsoring this video, Manscaped.
Sweet.
Sweet, my balls are shaved.
Amazing.
Incredible.
So,
Smooth.
Besides all that, I do want to shout out a quick thing of merch. We got a Forge King shirt, and for the first time ever, tank top. Finally available for the summer. The new Forge King merch is out. It's like, in my opinion, the best looking design we've ever done. I'm so happy with how it's come out. It is available now. It's amazing in shirts, tanks. More importantly, many of you have asked for the I'm a tank on a tank top, and that is now finally an option you may have. You may now get, it's not in green because we don't have any green tank tops, but if you want the I'm a tank design on a tank top in black, it is available. Check it out, description, bada bing, bada boom. Also read Storm of Iron. Mad lad. Also read Storm of Iron, ya bitch.
Yeah, I need to get on that.
You need to get on some bitches.
Wow.
Clap with me, DK.
Really well done. That was some top tier. Whew, boy, I have been sufficiently burned.
Meta this, meta that. Have you ever met a woman?
No.
I knew it. This is what happens.
In real life, anyway.
You took the VTuber pill, and this is what you've turned into.
Oh, yep, I sure have. So, Bricky, hello, yes.
Oh, I was just going to ask what the name of your fursona is with the one eye.
He's not a fursona at all. He's a Cyclops.
Keep telling yourself that.
His name happens to be Pi, P-A-I-X.
Before Shy posts the image of Adam Sandler saying "Today, Junior," let's go ahead and get rolling with it. Oh crap! Shit! I didn't have a quote prepared.
Oh no! I don't get to make myself look like a fool.
I found a quote.
Darn! Damn it! Damn you, Ricky! It's the Raven Guard.
No, it's not.
Oh, nice.
No.
I ruled one out. Let's go.
I have assembled you here for one reason. Each legionary in this hall is of greater purpose than you can know. Each of you are bound by fate to become titans. In the crucible of the most brutal war the galaxy has ever known, you were tempered. But the duty lies ahead, but the duty which lies ahead is of such scope it dwarfs that conflict. When we leave this place, it will be to undertake the last orders I shall ever give you. Quote by Malcador the Sigillite.
So I heard Titans, and it sounds like this little group is going into a big hoopla. But other than that, I didn't pick up on too many context clues. So I am gonna go. This is either some big war, a Titan episode, or some faction that I am completely unfamiliar with. That's like a Splinter Cell, Spec Ops, Death Watch thing.
Okay, you're not bad on the last one. I'm going to read another one that's a lot easier to understand. Why should I fear the demon? He has no power over me. Brother Captain Castavar Drak.
Oh,
Shy, he gets lots of chances because I'm trying to help. The last one did well. The last one is better for the founding, but let's be real. It didn't give a whole lot of context. Why would he fear the demon, DK? Why would he fear the demon?
Why would? Because he's human. He doesn't like. I don't know. It sounds like Inquisitor shit now. Just tell me what it is, because I don't know.
God damn it! You were so close. You got Spec Ops. You got Inquisitor. It's the Grey Knights.
Oh.
Be more excited.
Well, no, it's just once you said it, it was like, I Grey Knights wouldn't really, and it's like, oh no, I could have, maybe. Why did I think we already did an episode on Grey Knights as soon as you said it, though? Haven't we talked about them quite a bit?
We've mentioned them in passing quite often, but we also mentioned them a bit in the Inquisition episode. Shy, it says you're a moron, but Shy thinks everyone's a moron.
Yeah,
so.
I was gonna say, like, I've known Shy for like over a decade, and that has never changed. Her thinking I'm a moron. It's a constant, like the North Star.
I am like the first major quote for the Grey Knights is "We are the warriors of the Grey Knights," and I'm like, well, that's not gonna work.
Why didn't you use that quote, Bricky? I could have gotten that one. That one, I would have nailed. Are you kidding?
You know what? No, you probably would have thought it was Eldar.
I was like, this is probably a sussy quote about Eldar pretending to be Grey Knights. But it's the Tau. Yeah.
Blue. Anyway, the Grey Knights. I think this is technically the only codex we haven't done yet, with the exception of the various Space Marine legions like Death Watch and Thousand Suns. I think this is technically the only like playable faction we have not done yet. And I'm actually a little shocked it took us this long to do it, but that's probably my fault because I'm stupid.
I mean, I don't think it's a you're stupid thing. I think it's a look at how many topics we have to cover, and it just kind of kept getting pushed down. Also, we talked about their termies, didn't we? I remember really, really liking the Grey Knight termies.
Yes. I mean, this is... The Grey Knight Terminators were really cool. These are Space Marines, again. Back when I first started playing in 7th edition, this was my first army. I still have some of the models, and oh my god, did I not thin those paints. It was thick.
Oh man, thick like oatmeal, huh?
Oh yeah, it was rough. But this was my first ever army because at the time of playing, and yeah, those models actually are still current. Today there's a couple new ones, but yeah, like they're like 10-year-old models. They could use with a few refreshes, but I'd say most of them still look pretty good. But it could use a few refreshes.
Yeah, I vaguely remember someone saying that, like, well, after we had started the podcast, so it was relatively recent, that the Grey Knights used to be like super ultra meta, and you shouldn't just go after the Grey Knights because they're kind of boring to paint, and meta chasing is stupid because in a few years they're gonna, not be the meta. So it's weird to me that they haven't gotten like updates or new minis or like something more recently than 10-year-old models.
Eldar currently the best faction in 10th edition by a wide margin. like if there's an S tier, they're like in demigod tier, and their models still suck. So
I guess that's true. I mean, I guess GW wouldn't be like, oh yeah, here's the meta thing. Let's make minis for that. They've probably already got their little schedule going regardless.
I mean, Shai, I don't know if you have a picture of the newly made Terminators that came in the Leviathan box, but yeah, those are the old Grey Knight Terminators, and they don't look like terrible. Particularly the Sergeant looks pretty good. Their problem is they're kind of they have the old model syndrome of being kind of skinny in the various like appendages. Their arms and legs look kind of thin.
I gotta be honest, I kind of love those. I kind of love the sort of medieval knight helmet thing they got going on. So I don't mind it at all. I think those look great.
So the helmets and all of like the books and sigils are really dope. But if you notice them compared to the new Terminators they look a little like thin, a little lanky, a little spindly.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to like thick boys.
Yeah.
But anyway, that being aside, so the Grey Knights today, we're going to do 2 episodes of the Grey Knights. Today is the founding, and it's like it doesn't have got a lot. I originally assumed that there would be a ton more lore about this than I thought, but it's mainly just lore about a few of the people that do found it. So it's actually not going to be too crazy today. The next episode, we'll talk about all their crazy characters. We'll talk about Caldor Drago, or the base choice, Castellan Crow, the baller guy with the sword that talks to him.
That seems to be pretty common in Warhammer 40k, though. Oh, hey, the sword is possessed by a demon and it's talking to me and making me crazy. That seems like a fairly routine event in 40k.
You know, in Curia, it's a loyalist that uses it. The point is that no one is strong and okay, we'll talk about next episode.
Yeah, next episode. Yeah.
This starts way back with a certain gentleman known as Nathaniel Garrow. Nathaniel Garrow is a giga dick Chad. Garrow is one of those kinds of characters that I think Luton has a huge hard-on for, and I don't necessarily blame him. But Garrow is instrumental to many things heresy. He was an old Death Guard who abandoned Mortarion and Typhus when they went crazy and went nurgly. Well, I guess more so when they just turned traitor in general, not before the Nurgle problem.
Yeah.
He had the major book known as The Flight of the Eisenstein, which is apparently one of the better Horus Heresy books. And it's him escaping Typhus and the Terminus Est, getting away, and then you may remember him meeting Dorn, and Dorn being like, "What you say?"
Oh, that's where I remember him from. He's the one that tried to like warn Dorn about stuff coming, and Dorn was like, "Bitch, bam!" and like slapped him into like a wall or something.
He was basically like, "I'm going to kill you for talking down on the Emperor's favorite son."
Yeah.
But it all worked out at the end. After all this, and after warning Dorm, he was then, along with many of the other members of the flight of the Eisenstein, that's the name of the ship, the Eisenstein. I always used to call it Einstein, and that was not what it was. They were part of this little group called the Agentia. It's hard. Primus. Sure. It's fine. They were him and a few other people, some people named Cures, and particularly a Sister of Silence known as Amendera Kendall, were approached by Malcador, needing to form an organization which would, quote, utilize men and women of inquisitive nature, hunters who might seek the witch, the traitor, the mutant, and the Xenos.
Okay.
Now, Garrow was, at the time, kind of like a prisoner. I think he spent some time in like a garden, like this nice little indoor bio garden on the moon, because they were kind of keeping him back a bit just to be like, all right, he warned us about Horus, but not liking, little sussy. But what this original goal was put into place by the Emperor near the tail end of the heresy, where he was basically going to create this special group of individuals to protect the Imperium when he was no longer able to do so. Remember at the end of Master of Mankind when one of the custodians is like, "What do we do now, sire?" And he's like, "I don't know.
Yep.
I think that's the last words of the book, actually.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That might be the Emperor just being like,
which is, shocking.
Yeah, because it's the Emperor. He's like the all-knowing great Emperor of mankind, and for him to not know is like, oh boy, we're in trouble.
I do love how when he spoke to Ra, he smiled, and Ra was like, this was the most horrifying thing I have ever seen in my entire life. Was Big E smiling. Yeah. At this point, I believe the Emperor kind of maybe either peered into, his little foresight or kind of assumed that he would not be around post-heresy. And so he was putting in contingencies for this whole thing to happen.
Right.
Now, we talked a good amount about Malcador before, but Malcador is like extraordinarily sussy. He's like the sussiest of all.
Well, but he's, he might be a little sus, but he's still like undoubtedly loyal, right?
Malcador was like, who's the name of the leader of the secret police in Nazi Germany?
I do not remember.
Himmler.
Of course it was.
History, not our strong suit.
No.
Nope. No, history, not our strong suit. Nope.
No.
Okay, so
God
Himmler.
Damn, we're funny.
Oh well, that's debatable.
Well, again, what are we good for?
Consistent content.
Nothing.
Speaking of old school, anyway, Himmler. So Malcador was like, he kind of felt like Himmler sometimes. Ooh. He was really secretive, and he was the right-hand man of the Emperor. And for the most part, he just looked like a old man, but he was arguably the most powerful psyker just right under the Emperor of all time.
Oh, yeah.
But he was still like this frail old man looking guy. And so he himself was probably did some really, we talked about the lion, and the lion was like the quiet, like a hardcore, I'm going to exterminate you person. The person you call on to do the really dirty work.
Yeah.
I feel like that's Malcador to like an nth degree.
Wasn't it? I forget. You've mentioned this book so many times where someone was like trying to like snipe the Emperor to prove that like he could get through the defenses, and Malcolm immediately stopped it and looked right at him through the scope or something.
Yeah, that was the Alfarius book. Right. Alfarius was trying to snipe the Emperor, and as they were walking off the lander, Malcador just like snapped his face and stared directly into his eyes on the top.
Right,
and then
scary dude.
And then right after that, Constantine Valder nearly killed him. But during this time, Malcador was tasked with finding people of incredible power, men and women of incredible stalwart presence, strength and purity above all else. And Nathaniel Garrow was tasked with going out and seeking these individuals, kind of as like repentance for his traitor legion, kind of not like... It gave him something to do after being kind of arrested,
Yeah.
And so Garrow went out to go check or to recruit a ton of various Astartes from all kinds of chapters. Loyalist, heretical, didn't matter. Strength of will and absolute loyalty.
All right.
So he went to find a couple people. Tylos Rubio was a Ultramarines librarian who due to the Council of Nicaea, was not allowed to use any of his psychic powers, but he eventually had to use one in desperation to save him and his comrades, and they ostracized him for it.
Of course they did.
Grabbed him. He grabbed a bunch of other various ones. Most don't have their real name there. There was one from Severin, the wolf from the Luna Wolves. There was another one that Malcador had named Ravuel Arvida from the Thousand Sons. There was Vardis Isan of the Blood Angels. And then there were 4 others that from the Dark Angels, Space Wolves, Raven Guard, and Unknown. And as he went out to grab these various people, he formed a group of 12 individuals. There were 4 regular humans and 8 Astartes. Now, the regular humans were Amandura Kendall, the Sister of Silence.
Yeah.
She was technically the first ever human to order exterminatus.
Oh, well, good for her for exterminating a planet. Well done. We love to see it.
Love to see it. You had Lemuel Yauman, also known as Promeus. He was a remembrancer. There was someone named Cinderman, who was an iterator. But the 8 individual Astartes had their names changed and their identities made a secret. We only know of a few of them based on what I mentioned earlier, like Tylos Rubio, the Ultramarine, Yanis, or Revriel Arvida, the Thousand Sons, and they all had their names changed to Janus, Chios, like Iapto, Satyr, Epitheus, Jotun, Ogun, Chiron, and Cryus, or Cyrus.
Okay. Sound like
weird,
kind of sort of biblical, medieval-ish names.
Very cryptic as well.
Yeah.
But one of the more interesting people that was grabbed was a gentleman known as Garviel Loken. You don't know who Garviel Loken is. However, it's probably a crime that I have not taught you who Garviel Loken is.
Yeah, Chad, get him.
Yeah. Garviel Loken is a huge figure in the heresy. He was part of the Luna Wolves, eventually the Sons of Horus.
Yeah.
He was inducted into the Mournival, the secret advisory council of Horus, including Abaddon and many others.
Oh.
And he was sent down to Isvan 3 and virus bombed.
Okay.
But he survived the virus bombing, and many months later, Garrow came to rescue him.
As the Astartes do, they're just like, virus bombing? No, I'm good.
Well, no, the rest all died. He found a way to escape. So the Emperor met all of these individuals, for the most part. I know Garviel Loken refused. He saw the Emperor and was like, my life does not lie with this wacky stuff you want me to do. I'm out of here. I'm going to go fight against the traitors on the Siege of Terra. And actually, we don't really know what's up with Garviel Loken. We don't know his fate. I'm assuming that we might find out what happens in the Siege of Terra books currently going on, because he fights in the Siege of Terra, but that's, about it.
So we have no idea if he lived or died through the Siege of Terra.
At current, his ultimate fate is unknown.
Oh, okay.
Nathaniel Garrow, however, did go to fight later in the Siege of Terra, and he eventually was 1v1 Mortarion.
Ooh!
Mortarion was in full Primarch mode, though. Full demon everything. Big
Wing,
boy.
Scythe, gas mask, the whole 9?
The whole 9. And,
what?
He died.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, are you telling me he successfully 1v1 Mortarion? I was like, bruh.
He
if he did.
He did have a great moment where he got impaled by the scythe that Mortarion had, and he shoved himself further up the scythe so he could stab Mortarion in the neck.
That's a badass moment, to be fair.
Inflict like a cool little final act of desperation, but Garrow does die.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, as cool as Garrow sounds, there's no way he's surviving a duel with Mortarion, right? There's no chance. Juiced up Chaos Primarch Mortarion? Yeah, I don't think so.
God damn it, Shy. Is that Mortarion in the Family Guy pose?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
God damn it.
Wow.
But anywho, those regular individuals, the Remembrancer, the Iterator, the Sister of Silence, they all went to go start forming the way early aspects of the Imperial Inquisition.
That's how the Inquisition started?
Yep, if you don't notice, Malcador's special sigil the Malcador sigil is basically the Imperial Inquisition symbol.
Oh, I don't think I even knew that Malcador had his own special symbol. But yeah, that is basically the seal of the Inquisition.
Absolutely.
Cool.
It's the symbol of the Regent of Terra, which is his official title. So for most of them, they had a brand basically put on their body of the Imperial Inquisition, or the symbol of the Regent of Terra, to say that they speak with his authority. Hence the KGB and
the sort
references.
Of secret police deal. Gotcha.
Yeah. The other 8 Space Marines were judged by the Emperor and seem fitting to work onto the secret project. And then during the last moments of the Horus Heresy, the Malcador whisked them away to Titan, the moon of Saturn, via the webway, doing fancy webway stuff, because they can't really leave from regular Terra because, I don't know. There's like a slight problem with that.
I don't know what could have happened. I don't,
no idea. But he sent them to the secret base that was being constructed on Titan. And before the end of the Horus Heresy, Titan was taken and was yeeted right into the warp.
Oh, great.
Oh, this is intentional.
Oh, I would think getting your planet flung into the warp would be a bad thing, because
I would normally agree, and this is, I think, where they break a few established rules in the 40K universe that I think is a bit of a problem. But after it said that Malcador held the fortress of Titan and was sent into the warp. Now, how the hell Malcador sent the entire planet into the warp, I don't really know. I'm assuming maybe the planet had a bunch of jump drives on it or some kind of shenanigans there. I don't think Malcador just was like, homina, yeet.
You mean he didn't just go like, and into the warp with you, entire planet? And it happened?
Titan.
Really?
3-pointer. Woo!
Kobe!
He Kobe'd an entire planet into the warp.
Right into the warp.
And then he went back right to the Golden Throne and died.
Oh, yeah. What a way to go out, right? What, jeez.
Absolute Giga Chad.
So Titan is in the warp now.
Titan is in the warp, and it stays in the warp all the way until after the Horus Heresy is over and the second founding begins. Do you remember, young buck, what the second founding is?
Nope. Can't say I do.
God damn it. It's the part where Gilliman is like, these Space Marine legions are too powerful. We need to break them down into various smaller chapters.
Okay, so that no Space Marine chapter can be, like, too strong. So you can only have X amount of Astartes so that no one is ever capable of doing what Horus did.
Also, by the way, Lion, take this Ultra Boof.
Yeah. So I knew about that event. I guess I just didn't realize it was called the Second Founding. But I know what event you're talking about. Yeah.
Here, Shai says, apparently they use some bullshit STD. They use they use the clap. Some bullshit STC grade tech called Warp Nexus to warp Titan, and was protected by macro Geller fields.
Okay, all right, sure. Okay, thank you. All right. Whoop.
But it stays in the warp all the way until after the heresy and the start of the second founding, in which it pops right back out, and in the warp, like, decades had passed instead of like a couple of years instead. So when a couple of regular years in real space, decades had passed in the warp. And as they popped out, they were a fully fledged chapter of Space Marines. They are the 666th chapter in the founding.
In a matter of a decade for them,
Decades.
In a matter of a couple decades for them, they turned into a fully fledged chapter.
The warp is fickle.
I suppose that's true. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, is that even enough time to because where are they getting their resources from? Because they're confined to this one planet that's surrounded by macro Geller fields, right? So it's not like.
Well, it's a gigantic. It's like an enormous fortress monastery on it.
Yeah, but how did you become a big? Okay, whatever. It's 40K. Sure. All right, they come out. They're a big chapter now. Hooray!
We don't need to worry about logistics. It's 40K.
Yeah. It's 40K. Logistics don't matter.
They pop back out, and they are a fully fledged chapter of the Grey Knights. Those 8 members prior were the 8 major Grey Knight founders, because the Grey Knights do not have a Primarch. What they have instead are 8 extremely powerful individuals, the ones I mentioned. But every single Grey Knight, every serving Grey Knight in the chapter is an accomplished and extremely powerful psyker, because it is assumed that the Grey Knight's gene seed is lightly taken from Big E himself.
Oh, okay. So that's some quality gene seed.
That makes sense. Whether they're all like big psychers.
One might say that gene seed is the cream.
The cream.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One unbreakable shield against the coming darkness. One last blade forged in defiance of fate. Let them be my legacy to the galaxy I conquered, and my final gift to the species I failed. The Emperor when founding the Grey Knights.
Boy, that is quite the way to describe the Grey Knights, as the final gift to the species I failed. Wow. Grey Knights have some big shoes to fill.
They do. So for the longest time, back when I played 7th edition, you could play Space Marines, but if you wanted to play the Spacer Marines, the spaciest Space Marines, it was the Grey Knights. Now, if you want to play the spaciest Space Marines, you play the Custodians.
Sure.
But if you want the in-between between the Space Marines, the Spacer Marines, and the Spacist Marines, you play the Grey Knights for the Spacer Marines.
Boy, that's some spacey math right there.
It certainly is.
Oh, boy.
But the Grey Knights are now not a major Adeptus Astartes branch, but in fact the hand of the Ordo Malleus, the demon hunters of the Inquisition. You'll notice on their armor, they very often have the symbol of the Regent of Terra, aka the Inquisitorial seal. And every single Grey Knight is a powerful, accomplished psyker. And their entire goal is to root out heresy, particularly demon infestations, wherever they are.
Makes sense.
Their armor is gray because it is unpainted. Their identities stricken from however they used to be, replaced with these brother captains and justicars. A lot of their names are like the prognosticars or the sword brethren, bearers, and that kind of stuff.
Oh, I kind of like the idea that their armor is gray because it's just unpainted ceramite, because you don't get like a special identity. You're just part of the Grey Knights, and that's kind of cool. I like that.
They are go ahead.
Even though like their identity was like erased, how's that one Blood Angel doing? Because he's still got his black rage and stuff, right? Like, is he okay?
So we don't know the fate of pretty much any of the founding members of the Grey Knights except for one. And his fate, well, as far as I'm aware, his fate is not great.
Oh, wait, did they just not pop out of the warp or something? Where
they didn't.
Where'd they go?
No, they're there. They're just all their names were stricken. Their titles removed. They're secret. They're super secret.
Okay, gotcha.
And also, it's been 10,000 years. God knows where they are. So the Grey Knights, besides the gray armor on them, they are inscribed all the way across their body with tons of runes of warding. These are often known as the Aegis, and the Aegis is basically words of power, hexagrammatical wards, random purity seals, things that push away demons from their body, their mind, and their armor. So you know those giant books you see them that are on their bodies?
Yeah, those are basically purity seals to ward off demons and stuff.
But also the books sometimes contain the true names of demons. They're real names.
I remember you telling me that, because if
Yeah.
you speak the demon's name, they just and you kill them.
they get really damaged. So it's
Yes.
words of banishment.
Okay.
It's like,
And
he's got a
they just
suspicious
look
book.
really cool.
They do. You just pull out your book and you start reading and yelling at them.
Yeah, wasn't one of the books we read, weren't there either a bunch of Grey Knights or a bunch of priests that just they all had books that had demon names and were just like, well, we're just going to keep reading and eventually we'll get his name, hopefully. Just hold him off for a while we just read.
I actually don't remember which book that was.
But there was one where they did something like that, right?
It may have been like a story. I don't really remember specifically. I'm sure comments will tell us.
Yeah, probably.
But Shai is correct. Normal purity seals are basically medals. We mentioned that before with the Arbites guy who had a purity seal of all the worlds he brought to justice.
Yeah.
Grey Knight ones literally are words to banish and hold off demons, wards and stuff.
I think that's cool that they could actually use them. Like they could take that scroll on his chest and he just kind of rips it off and he just kind of looks at it and says a name and the demon just poof. That's cool.
And you'll notice that for the most part, a lot of the weapons the Grey Knights carry are rather similar. Their standard arsenal is a wrist-mounted Stormbolter, and then some kind of major force weapon, often a sword, a demon hammer, and a lot of times a halberd.
Okay, cool.
All kinds of things that have real... Also, Grey Knights have like a lot of that old school artwork. The old school, like 5th edition Games Workshop artwork that people find really, really popular. And I do think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
But Grey Knights, from there on out, after the founding of the chapter, their goal is incredibly simple. They are the hyper-secretive, KGB-esque, full psyker anti-demon division of the Imperium and of the arm of the Imperial Inquisition. Made... I guess if you want to have to give them a Primarch, you could argue if you need like there is no real Primarch because their gene seed is from the Emperor.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
like if you want to call their founder, like their leader would have been Malcador.
yeah, definitely.
So led by Malcador, or for the time being built by Malcador, now out to destroy and find demonic incursions wherever they arrive.
So business is a booming for the Grey Knights. There is plenty of stuff for them to do.
Business is booming hard. The problem is that the Grey Knights are not known to basically anyone except for the Ordo Malleus and a few Space Wolves. Because the reason for this is because, for the most part, demonic incursions tend to mess with your head a little.
Well, yes, that's true. I suppose they would.
And if you, let's say, DK, you are an outstanding citizen of the Imperial Guard.
I sure am.
You joined up at 14. You got your las gun. You're ready to fight the horrors of the warp.
For the
Emperor. You've just finished fighting off a teeming level of pink horrors, the shape-shifting madness of Tzeentch. And right now, you're basically screaming your ears off and crying all day, every day from the horrors you've seen.
Okay.
Even though you won the battle.
So just like real life,
Yeah, perfect. So it's normal. You got it.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have a good cry after this episode's over.
The reason you won this battle is because this really interesting version of the Emperor's Angels, clad in silver armor and books, came in and banished all the demons. And then this large warrior walks up to you and you like tears in your eyes, like saying thank you for saving me from those things, and then he immediately kills you.
Oh, okie dokie. I'm assuming because he was just like, oh, you're probably warp tainted now, so you know what? Slash and burn. Just slash and burn. Kill it all. Leave nothing to question. Everything on this once demon-infested world must die. Leave no stone unturned type of thing. Is that...
Yeah, ding, ding, ding. There you go.
Okay. Scorched earth. Okay.
Scorched earth. You knew too much, and therefore you must be removed.
So quite literally, like nobody can know about the Grey Knights because it seems like if they go to any sort of demon incursion, they're not gonna leave a witness, whether or not they think you're infected, or they think you're a demon, or they think you're warp tainted. They leave like nothing behind, no survivors, just burn it all to the ground.
For the most part, not everyone is so accepting of that. If you are an Imperial Guardsman, there's a damn good chance you're just flat out dead. If you are someone of a higher rank or caliber, they might attempt to just mind wipe you. They do this a lot with like other Astartes.
And then I was gonna say, because you can't wipe out another Space Marine. I mean, I guess you could, but
it's pretty not an acceptable thing. They might just like mind wipe your memory, but they might not like wipe you out to death.
Right.
It also depends on how strong the Space Marine is. The book, one of the first ever 40K books I read was this book called Pandarax. And Pandarax is a gigantic Nurgle infestation where it's an apocalypse book led by Abaddon, where a bunch of Catachan guardsmen, Grey Knights, and Dark Angels come together to fight off this big crazy situation.
This is a big Nurgle thing.
And at the end of the book, it was Azrael of the Dark Angels and Kaldor Drago kind of exchanging curt words. And despite the Grey Knights being the Grey Knights, Azrael was kind of there with all of his Deathwing Terminators. And Azrael is Azrael. And he's kind of looking at Drago like, try it. Literally try it.
Yeah, I guess in that situation, it's like, well, I guess we can let it slide this one time, Azrael of the Dark Angels.
It's like, you want to talk about who can be the most secret around here? No one beats me.
No one beats the Dark Angels at being secretive.
You see this sword of mine, Drago? It's called the Sword of Secrets.
Drago goes, oh, I want one. I want a Sword of Secrets.
And he's got the Titan sword.
Yep. I mean, also not a bad sword to have.
No, very good name for that sword, no doubt.
Hell yeah.
But for the most part, if you are someone who has seen the Grey Knights, you're either going to get mind wiped, Men in Black style, or you're going to be killed. Yeah. You're the knowledge
sword is going to wipe your mind.
Oh yeah. Psychic mind wipe, or maybe a bullet.
Yeah, a bolter to the face. Yeah.
And Shai makes a great point where the existence of demons is not a thing that is known. The Imperium does not know about demons. The general populace does not know about demons, or that gods exist. It's the classic folly of the Emperor. He believed that believing in nothing was the better option than telling people that it's a thing and you should be fearful.
Yeah, because then it's like, oh, then they won't pray to the whatever god, and they won't strengthen them, and they won't be corrupted. Well, it's like, well, I mean, they're still going to. Now they just don't know that they're doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So no chances are taken, especially when you as a lowly 14-year-old can become a conduit for like God knows how many horrifying creatures of the warp.
Yeah, nightmarish creatures of any sort of warp. Yeah.
So regardless, with all that, the Grey Knights, as they operate now, are a very weird force in how, like, they're a niche in 40K that is not really expressed. They are a hyper elite tanky, full psyker, hyper-mobile army.
Wow.
The Grey Knights teleport like crazy.
Damn.
They are constantly like bouncing around the place, like in large bits of lightning, like zap, murder, psychic flame, and then they disappear. And then zap, murder, psychic flame, and then they move again.
Lightning teleports are so cool.
In the tabletop, they have this new ability now where at the end of your opponent's turn, you can pick 3 units on the field, just remove them, and teleport them somewhere else on the battlefield.
Damn.
So you're constantly like going blip, just bouncing everywhere, causing problems.
Are the Grey Knights still pretty upper echelon in the tabletop, or have they kind of L plus ratio plus you fell off the edge?
They're fine. We're in the start of 10th edition, so everything is the Wild West. All I know is that Eldar and Knights are way too good.
You're right. That's right. 10th edition came out, so everybody's still trying to like get their feelers out for how everything works.
Yep.
Right.
And yes, Shai says they are so pure they can step through the warp to teleport without it damaging their mind. And once one of them teleports to another planet in the system by walking through the warp.
Wow, he just straight up teleported to another planet. I'm just gonna blip through the warp, no big deal. What's with all these teeth? Don't care. Hooray, I'm on another planet?
That's one of the reasons why all those wards on their armor is so important.
Oh, right. Yeah. Fair enough.
Now, granted, they don't do that very often.
True,
But
they can.
except for one son of a bitch,
Yeah,
Mr.
geez.
Caldor Drago.
What an ability to have. What is that picture?
As Caldor Drago with the head of a Keeper of Secrets.
Holy. Yeah, I was like, is that supposed to be a shield, or did he kill that?
He did the killy.
Wow. I guess it is Caldor Drago. He is kind of a badass.
He's a lot of things. We'll talk a lot more about he's a
Oh, so he's a Gary Stew.
pretty hardcore, yeah. But we'll talk more about him in the next episode when we talk about the characters.
Okay.
But that is, if anything, if there's one thing we should round this out on, it's this. No Grey Knight has ever fallen to the corruptions of chaos. Ever.
That makes sense. I am not surprised by that information. That seems on brand with what they have like always been since that founding. So yeah, that makes sense.
But it's a bit surprising because they got like the genes to the Emperor and all that kind of stuff. But you would think at least one, like half the goddamn Primarchs went to chaos.
True, but weren't they specifically picked out for the Grey Knights because they were like the best of the best and seemed to be the most loyal of the most loyal? So it kind of makes sense that they wouldn't like that. One of their outstanding traits is like, nope, we've never turned ever, not even close, not even one. So that makes sense to me.
True, but it's not like those absolutes don't happen much. Like the Sisters of Battle are, I mean, it's almost more impressive that the sisters don't fall because they're just regular women, like just regular humans for the most part. But they still have a few that fall to chaos, a couple here and there. Yeah. Grey Knights is like 0, 10,000 years, not a 1.
I mean, Grey
which
Knights
is
gray,
impressive.
You know,
Grey Knights be gray? What?
I don't know. I'm not quite sure what I was going for there. I just look. Let's just. So how that's the episode, huh? Good stuff, Bricky.
I hate you. I hate you so much.
What? I'm just trying to do a little Dean Kamen to get away from that.
But the Grey Knights themselves, Shai says, I wanted to say none of them have ever fallen to chaos according to them, but no one knows they exist, so it's not even like they can brag. It's very true.
Or if one did fall and they already took care of it, they're just like, well, we're not going to tell anybody about this.
Yeah. Now their miniatures aren't particularly lovely though. They are a little old.
That one's rough. That one is. I mean, for the older minis, that's not the worst I've ever seen.
Where's Voldis? Where's
around the edges.
where's Grandmaster Voldus? He's okay. He's like the newest mini I think they've got.
Also, it's crazy to see how far the paint jobs have like evolved too. Because like in those old ones, like the purity seals are just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna put a bunch of lines in. And these days, people are like actually writing shit on the purity seals on their minis, and it's like, oh my god.
Oh, here we go. Here's Voldus. He's the newest mini I think they have. He's pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, I kind of wish he had a helmet, but you know.
Well, he's like
otherwise-
a super librarian, so that's like the whole like the hood.
Right. Yeah. Damn, that is cool though. That's not bad at all. I like that.
But yeah, that's the overarching like founding of the Grey Knights. The specifics of the Grey Knights, some of their characters, some of their units and models, the baby carrier especially, and how and like the other kinds of groups like the Purifiers and the other side bits of the Grey Knights are things we'll be talking about next time around. Yes, how they are individually recruited is very funny as well.
Oh man, now I'm looking forward to that. Well, I always look forward to the next episode, but still, I want to know how they're recruited.
Luckily, the Grey Knight's founding is not that hard to describe because it's so wrapped in secrecy. And if it's wrapped so hard in secrecy, well, you know, it's like,
What's there
oh
to
well,
tell, you know?
yeah, just
Cool.
kind of chilling. But yeah,
Yeah, I think the Grey Knights are cool. I like that. That's a nice little founding. They're very secretive. They're very scorched earth. Very kill the demons. Yeah, cool. I dig it.
they are. Dig it. They are they are a very hyper specific kind of group. If you want to run Space Marines, but you really want to run like nothing but old school wizard Space Marines, these are the ones. Yeah. These are the guys.
The Ultra Psychers.
Very fast, very mobile, very tough, all at the same time. Kind of cool.
Nice.
Anyway, next episode we're going to talk about the man who like lives in the warp.
Wow.
By
What?